promises to be as a stupid does.
Welcome to But Frankly Pierce News. I'm Arthur Fairview. Here's what we're facing. I know what you're thinking. Episode 45, 45. Of course, we're going to do a whole show all about that.
But we are not.
You're sure?
Absolutely.
So we are not dedicating an entire show to the failed former president. Okay, then. I understand. I just planned and prepped for the show, gathered all the stories, all the data, because it's episode 45. But fine. I'm a professional. I can be flexible.
Yes, get over there!
To begin, have you ever accidentally deleted an important text message?
Who hasn't?
Well, the Secret Service was served with a subpoena this week to provide some deleted text messages to the House Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol.
That should be easy enough to do. I mean, are text messages ever truly deleted?
Seriously, don't they have some kind of cloud backup?
The good news is that these text messages are recoverable. In fact, you can retrieve deleted text messages on Android all by yourself.
Well, according to the Secret Service, those text messages were erased as part of a device replacement program and are not retrievable.
Nothing is ever totally deleted.
Don't they run a document recovery forensic unit?
According to their website, secretservice.gov, we are home to a broad range of forensic experts and visual information specialists who provide multidisciplined, state-of-the-art support to our investigative and protective missions, missing and exploited children investigations, and other major crimes investigated by our law enforcement partners.
Exactly.
So what's the problem?
It also states a cyber workforce of special agents and forensic analysts dedicated to conducting advanced computer, mobile device, and vehicle infotainment systems forensic examinations using specialized methods, software, and equipment.
So what gives? Don't they have it? Or they don't have it yet?
Or they don't want to hand it over?
Time will tell. But remember when the librarians from the National Archives found out about the boxes of files taken from the Trump White House to Mar-a-Lago?
Oh, yes.
I think this added pressure might get results.
I'm sorry, these books are a little overdue.
Conan the Librarian.
Don't mess with a librarian.
And now for something completely different.
An unusual phenomenon is happening in Mystic, Connecticut. We have a reporter on the scene. Ashley, what are you seeing there?
There are swimmers coming up the river. This is the wildest thing I have ever seen.
I'm a bit confused by what I'm seeing. Which direction are they swimming? Is it upriver or downriver?
I've been told it's actually down the river.
Amazing. Any thought on what these swimmers are going through?
They are so brave.
Do we know why these people are all swimming downriver?
This is the shark swim. There is a giant shark chasing all of these swimmers.
Say that again, Ashley. There is a shark in the river?
There is a shark in the river, and I think we're gonna need a bigger boat. That's all from Mystic River. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, Ashley. Ashley Murray reporting live from Mystic, Connecticut.
But wait, there's more.
And now for something completely different.
What do Tom Miller, Ulysses Baxter, Bill Williams, and Bob Salem all have in common?
They all pushed a peanut up Pike's Peak with their nose?
No, they all pushed a peanut up Pike's. Hey!
We are in your mind, you know.
Yes, I know. Bob Salem pushed a peanut up Pike's Peak wearing a spoon attached to his CPAP mask. He is now the fourth person to complete such a feat and the first person to do that in the 21st century.
By a nose.
Gesundheit.
Moving on. In Houston, 52 school buses wound their way through the city streets, empty, draped in purple and black bunting, and emblazoned with the bold black letters reading, "Gun Violence in America." The NRA Children's Museum consists of 52 school buses with 4,368 vacant seats for all of the U.S. children killed by gun violence since 2020. The message it sends is not subtle. It's the latest work of artist Manuel Oliver, whose son, Joaquin, was one of 18 people killed in the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School mass shooting in Parkland, Florida, back in 2018. The 1 mile long caravan paid its first visit to the home and then the office of Ted Cruz, one of the NRA's top funded politicians. Oliver's intentions for the project is clear. We're going after the money.
Well done.
Continuing in Texas, where, as always, they do everything bigger. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton is suing the Biden administration over its guidance, stating the federal law requires doctors to perform abortions for pregnant people in emergency rooms when it is the stabilizing treatment necessary to resolve a medical emergency, including treatments for ectopic pregnancy, hypertension, and preeclampsia.
Well, that is perfectly reasonable. Do no harm.
It is in the job description.
The Biden administration also warned retail pharmacies that they must fill prescriptions for pills that can induce abortion or risk violating federal civil rights law. They also warned hospitals against failing to provide emergency abortion treatment when necessary, as it could be fined or have its Medicare status revoked. Paxton's office argued in the suit that these hospitals are now threatened with having to choose between violating state law under the threat of criminal penalty or jeopardizing their ability to participate in Medicaid. Any ruling will most likely be appealed. Paxton's office also argues that the federal guidance isn't merely clarifying existing law, but includes a number of new requirements related to the provision of abortions that do not exist under federal law.
Now, what does this remind me of?
Like we have said, they do everything bigger in Texas, especially stupid. Now, on to the weather. Hot enough for you? Yes, it's hot.
How hot is it?
So hot, the runway at Luton Airport in London melted.
Now, that's pretty hot.
After reaching 104 degrees in London, the Luton Airport runway was closed for 2 hours because of a surface defect.
Defect? It melted. A section of the runway melted.
It did, which is no great surprise with England having its hottest day ever recorded. In addition, fires broke out, trains were canceled, and schools closed. Hot temperature records are far outpacing cool records across the globe this year. Clearly a sign that the minor efforts we are making to address climate change are not enough. For another perspective, let's check in down south.
Oh, some like it hot, but I like it really hot.
Thanks, hot stuff. There is yet another hearing of the House committee investigating January 6th attack on the Capitol this evening.
Ooh, prime time. This must be the series finale.
Actually, I think this just might be the season 1 finale.
This hearing will look at what failed former President Trump was doing while the mob he riled up was attacking the Capitol. According to the Washington Post, the committee is planning to show outtakes from Trump's reluctant video of January 7th, when there was talk of removing him from office. More news to follow on that one. But listening to all the testimony, I keep coming back to one question. Are people really that stupid? I mean, to go so far against the law, try and break the Constitution? I mean, really?
Don't call me stupid.
And speaking of stupid, documents released by the House Oversight and Reform Committee confirmed that the Trump administration's attempt to include a citizenship question on the 2020 census was a strategy to skew population data to benefit Republicans. Trump had refused to turn over the documents, but the Biden administration agreed to allow the House committee to see them.
So he tried to rig the game.
And thankfully, he failed.
Democratic Representative Carolyn Maloney of New York, who chairs the House Oversight Committee, made the following statement. Today's committee memo pulls back the curtain on this shameful conduct and shows clearly how the Trump administration secretly tried to manipulate the census for political gain while lying to the public and Congress about their goals. In other words,
oh, right! To call you stupid would be an insult to stupid people!
And as long as we're wading into the stupid pool, let's take a deeper dive with Missouri Senator Josh Hawley. During a Senate hearing on the impact of the Supreme Court's decision to reverse Roe v. Wade, Hawley was schooled by Kiara Bridges, a law professor from the University of California, Berkeley. Senator Hawley tried to trap Bridges by narrowing the definition of who is affected by the court's decision. Let's take a look.
Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm
is
denying that
dangerous.
trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So you are
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot just in this exchange.
Absolutely.
Game, set, and match, Professor Bridges.
Ouch. Need a little ice for that burn.
Yep, that is pretty darn stupid. Almost as stupid as believing
Aristotle was not Belgian. The central message of Buddhism is not every man for himself. And the London Underground is not a political movement. Those are all mistakes, Otto. I looked them up.
Stupid is knowing the truth, seeing the truth, but still believing the lies. This has been But Frankly Pierce News. Thanks for watching. I'm Arthur Fairview. Talk with your mouth full. Bite the hand that feeds you. Bite off more than you chew. What can you do? Dare to be stupid.
Thank you.